Now we have some topics like the Winter Olympics. You know that Winter Olympics are due to start in Beijing, and they are Winter Olympics of 2022, and China is becoming the first city in where the summer and Winter Olympics both held, and also first country where the snow is not in abundance. Snow is not in abundance, still it is organizing the Winter Olympics, because mostly the sports or events in the Winter Olympics are related to or mostly playing in the fields of snow. So generally the countries like France, Switzerland, and other countries like where the snow peaks are high, Canada, so these countries have been organizing the Winter Olympics since their inceptions in 1924, right? So if we see that why this news is in context, the news is in context because India has denied, or India said that she will boycott the Winter Olympics in China diplomatic level, at diplomatic level. So that means there will be a diplomatic boycott from Indian side for the Winter Olympics, which are due to start in Beijing in this year, right? So the news follows that terming China's decision, the reason is here, terming China's decision to field a People's Liberation Army soldier involved in the June 2020 Galwan clashes, where we have lost our soldiers, as the torch bearer for the Winter Olympic Games in Beijing as regrettable. That India says that it is not at all accepted that someone who has been involved in the clashing or murder, India has called it as murders, of another country's soldiers, when the country, both the nations were not in the state of war. That is most important, state of war. It is just the security arrangements of the countries at borders, and those clashes could have been easily handled through the flag talks, right, of the higher officials. So there was no requirement or no need for having undergone this clashes where India has lost its soldiers. So one of the soldiers from the People's Liberation Army, and who was there involved in those clashes, he will be the torch bearer of this great event, Winter Olympics, which are due in Beijing. So India has actually boycotted it at diplomatic level. So India announced a diplomatic boycott of the game just ahead of the opening ceremony. So what is this diplomatic boycott and how should you understand this? The decision does not affect the participation of Arif Khan, important name, because it is interesting to know that India is sending just one man contingent to Beijing Winters Olympics. He is a skier basically from state of Jammu and Kashmir. So he is coming from the Kashmir Valley. Arif Khan, who will be the only athlete representing India in Beijing, right? So it is very interesting. What is diplomatic boycott? It simply means that the country who has boycotted something at diplomatic level, it will not send official government delegations to Beijing during the games. However, participation of athletes is not denied. Simply understand. It is just diplomatic boycott, that none official from the government of India side will be present at the ceremonies at any level. However, the participation of athletes is a different thing. So that just to maintain the game spirit, sports spirit, and the world unitary spirit through the games, which is exercised or ascertained, whereas countries are also showing their differences, and they are also showcasing that their what say like lack of differences in the understanding at international level, at political level. So this is just the meaning, right? So it doesn't, that means does a diplomatic boycott affect athletes participation? No, it doesn't. Athletes and officials from all countries will continue to take part in the Winter Olympics in Beijing unhindered. So this is important for your understanding. So why have the Beijing Winter Games been so controversial? Why? Because in India's case, the boycott was announced after Chinese soldier involved in Galwan clashes. He is the Olympic torchbearer, and the Western countries led by the US made the diplomatic snub over China's alleged treatment of Uyghurs, Muslims, and human rights issues. We have already spoken about the Uyghurs, Muslims. This is a community in the Western Chinese region, Western Chinese province of Xinjiang. The Xinjiang is important because it is nearby the Eastern Aksai Chin region from Ladakh. That means if this is the boundary of India, so in this region, this is Aksai Chin, which is controlled by, or this is like this is Aksai Chin is actually coming under the LAC, line of actual control, and nearby this region, this is actually the Xinjiang province where the Uyghurs Muslims are living. So this is a minority in China, and this is one of the most suffering community in China. And it is ironic to know that understanding the situation, Pakistan is still supporting China in this manner. So from here, from Xinjiang province, the CPEC corridor, that is Chinese Pakistan Economic Corridor, is passing through this way up to Karachi. Right, so this is the Xinjiang province, and always remember the Chinese eastern part, which is basically a coastal part, it more developed, where Shanghai, Shenzhou, Guangzhou, Guangdong, Hong Kong, the Hangzhou, Yiwu, all these provinces are located, and Beijing is also towards that side. Whereas the western side, which is near the eastern part of J&K, that is Aksai Chin region, what I have shown you through this this map making here, the development aspect is very least. It is lying over to the northern side of Tibet. So here the developmental aspect is very least, and in this region of Tibet, this province is the next attraction for the development from the eastern control, from the eastern, what say, like more developed regions of China. So here this Uyghur community is least developed, first thing. Second thing, the people from this community are taken as a forced labor to work on the industrial regions, port systems, and other economic activities in the eastern coast of China. So therefore, the alleged human rights issues, it's not alleged, actually it is confirmed. And if you watch documentaries available at many places, and if you read the reports of human rights commissions, so there you'll be getting to know that these people are treated like no humans by Chinese in the eastern side. Now, so US has allegedly boycotted on the issues of Uyghur Muslims and human rights issues, and some countries like Austria, New Zealand, Slovenia, and Sweden, Netherlands, have cited pandemic related risks for not sending government officials. Because friends, before the COVID-19 first lockdown everywhere in the world, there was this army sports event from around the world was organized in China, and these army personnel, after conclusion of the event, when they went back to their places or their home countries, they actually became the carriers of this COVID virus, right? So when they went back to their places after the event got over in China, so they took this virus and they became the carriers in their regions, and this is why many countries are taking this as an excuse, and this excuse has great validity because it has happened in 2020, or sorry, 19. And when October-November period was going on, because in China in November, I think the first case was detected of this coronavirus, right? Now, France, the host of the 2024 Summer Olympics, has been against a boycott. That the people should not boycott this event otherwise, because France is in the suspicion that if people are not going for the Chinese event, this Beijing Winter Olympics, then people would not come to the France. And organizations of this event at this level is a great contributor for the economic development. People get jobs, economic perspectives, and for the overall development and other investment perspective. The countries host such large and massive events at world level, and hence France is against the boycott, right? So this is just a generic idea, and you can actually read about the Olympic and other aspects here, because like sometimes the question might be here again from the areas and context. So this is the topic. So hence, if you understand it, this is important for your understanding. Thank you.